There are some storylines coming out of the Lions training camp already, a week into this thing. And I want to know where you stand on these things, Brant. So first of all, we know that, Amon-Ra St. Brown just got locked up on a huge contract, and rightfully so. I mean, we don't need to debate that at this point. They locked up Amon-Ra St. Brown. They had to do it. Jameson Williams, I'll talk about him again in a second. He's clearly like your wide receiver too. But look, they lost Josh Reynolds, and I'm kind of wondering who that wide receiver 3 is. And wide receiver 3, by the way, is not, I'm not talking about who's the slot receiver. I just mean like who's the third guy, right? Like Jameson Williams is going to be used in a lot of different ways. Amon-Ra St. Brown, same way. But that wide receiver 3, is that Khalif Raymond? Is it Antoine Green, who's, look, they drafted him in the 7th round from North Carolina. He's made the roster, like big body receiver. He could be that guy. They traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones last year. They're going to need somebody to step up. And I'm wondering where your head is at in terms of who you trust the most. Because I'm saying that because that's what you hear Dan Campbell say the most and this coaching staff say the most. Who can they trust play in and play out? Khalif Raymond may not be the sexiest guy to count in as your wide receiver 3, but look, he's been on the roster. He knows the system. He's proven. I want to know where your head is at, Brant, with this wide receiver 3 battle, knowing that arguably in the tight end room, you may have a top 3 tight end in the NFL and a second-year tight end in Sam Laporta. So this offense is loaded. We know you've got Jahmyr Gibbs at running back and David Montgomery. Jared Goff has certainly proved himself, but I feel like that wide receiver 3 spot is kind of up for grabs. Wondering, what do you think's going to happen there? What do you hope is going to happen there?
Dave, it's kind of funny because when you bring up Amon-Ra St. Brown and the way that he glowingly talks about DPJ and the way he glowingly talks about Khalif Raymond, he loves both those guys. So that just tells you, and I can't imagine Amon-Ra St. Brown not liking someone that's not going to work hard, not going to put the effort in. And I think DPJ obviously has the physical traits to do the job a little better than Khalif Raymond does, but there is no one scrappier, I feel like, on that team and someone that exemplifies grit like Khalif Raymond. I like Khalif Raymond right now, Dave. I think he gives you a little bit of an extra added element to your offense as well. So I look for him to do things in a little bit of you got something, Dave?
I think that Khalif Raymond to me is the safe bet because he's been there. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones, and look, man, let's not kid anybody. We're Michigan fans. I see the banner hanging in the background. Like Donovan Peoples-Jones, look, it's not just that it's a Michigan fan thing. It's he was good for the Browns. Like you're talking over 800 receiving yards, like playing with Jacoby Brissett, okay, as his QB1. So right. Donovan Peoples-Jones could be that guy who really, when they traded for him last year, didn't quite get the reps, and he's learning the system. But I think he could be a sneaky pick. I think Antoine Green is I don't know enough about him. I know he's a big body receiver. I think that you've heard Dan Campbell say, even recently in the last week, he's great. He's got to be more consistent. And so that gives me a little bit of pause of like, I heard the same thing about Jameson Williams, right? And speaking of Jameson Williams, and this is point number 2, Jamo's getting a lot of hype coming out of camp. He's jawing at people. Doesn't surprise anybody, but he's making plays. He's being consistent. He showed up healthy, showed up like ready to go. Brant, I need to know because I feel like Jameson Williams unlocks something in this offense that we haven't quite seen yet. We know what he can do, kind of, right? We certainly know what he could do at Alabama. But he has shown you glimpses in a Lions jersey of what Jameson Williams could be. I need to know, are you buying the hype in training camp that, like, Jamo's ready to be that guy? Like, there is no Josh Reynolds. There isn't a safety blanket. It's like, no, Jamo, this is put up or shut up time. I'm hearing a lot of good things. I need to know where your head's at with Jameson Williams.
I think it's easy, Dave. I think I'm buying it completely. Like I'm completely bought in on JMO. I think he showed you towards the end of last year that he's going to work. He's going to try to run better routes. He's going to put in the technical time to be the best player that he can be. And I think Amon-Ra St. Brown being there to guide him changes his whole career. I think he needed someone like that. I think his time now is time to just go out and play ball. Like, go be the fastest guy on the field. Go be the guy that's going to snake past somebody and catch a deep ball. I think that will come so much more naturally now that he's put in the work with Jared Goff to be a professional, to be a guy that's going to come in and day out and do the right things to win, to play winning football. Whether that means, you're going to have to be in on blocking, running plays. You're going to have to be out there more than just a decoy on plays. You're going to have to be the second or third receiver. You're going to have to be the second or third option a lot, but it needs to be okay with you. And I think he's accepted it.
And here's what I'll say. This is why culture matters, okay?
Yeah.
Because Jameson Williams coming out of Alabama was no polished product. The skill set was there. The burst was there. The speed, all of that, the playmaking. Nobody could argue that. But you put Jameson Williams on a team where that culture is not set, he's that guy that slips into the abyss that, yeah, crazy talented. I'm not going to say Henry Ruggs. I understand how that ended, but we know what those guys do in the NFL, okay? They're boom or bust. I think you put Jameson Williams on a different team, I could definitely see him being a bust. I'm all in, Brant, on the Jameson Williams train, that he has earned the trust of this coaching staff, that he wants to be here. Brant, he's a small receiver that blocks, and he blocks good. I'm all in on Jameson Williams, and I think that he is going to unlock something in this offense that's going to take them to a whole new level. And let us not forget, Ben Johnson has returned to the Lions. He's never really built Jamo into the offense before. He's kind of like been spotted in here or there. He's going to be a focal point. And I think that if he is who I think he is, this is going to be a very scary element for this offense. Brant, my next question is this. Nate Sudfeld, a guy that, I mean, we don't need to talk about a ton on the podcast, okay? But he's back on the roster. Hendon Hooker, look, they drafted him in the third round, not this past spring, but a season ago. We know he came in with the ACL injury from Tennessee, missed all of preseason, all of that. Smart kid, willing learner, does all the right things. I loved the Hendon Hooker pick. He was one of my favorite college football quarterbacks. They're keeping Nate Sudfeld around, and they're speaking highly of him. And I need to know, because you don't have Teddy Bridgewater anymore. That QB2 position is critically important, and I need people to not forget that, okay? We have seen for years as Lions fans what it's like to not have a QB2, okay? Last year, they had Teddy Bridgewater. Thankfully, you didn't need Teddy Bridgewater. You need a good QB2. Where do you think Hendon Hooker fits into this whole thing? Do you feel like it's a done deal? Is Hendon Hooker the QB2? Do you see them keeping around Nate Sudfeld? I mean, we're talking about a 53-man roster. Like, they keep them both? What do you think's going to happen there?
Dave, I think they're keeping them both. I think whatever kind of professionalism Nate Sudfeld can bring into this QB room is going to be a good thing. And maybe it's a fact of Jared Goff doesn't have time to spend time with Hendon Hooker and to teach him some of the ropes. Like, Jared Goff is very focused on getting this team where it needs to go. And I think this is a make or break year kind of for Hendon Hooker, whether he steps into that QB2 role where he's like, hey, he was closer to Nate Sudfeld at the beginning of the year. He's getting closer to Jared Goff at the end of the year. That's the progression that the Detroit Lions want to see, and that's important to bring in a guy to spend time with Nate Sudfeld, to bring in a guy like Nate Sudfeld so he can spend time with Hendon Hooker, and he's only going to cost you $1 million, whatever it is, 1.5 maybe at the most. And I know it takes up a roster spot, Dave. I get that. But if Hendon Hooker is going to be a part of what you want to do in the future, whether that be, hey, we want a really solid QB2 behind him at least for the next 2 years on his rookie deal, then this is what you have to do. And this is a crucial year for Hendon Hooker to learn and grow.
Look, if you're not, here's the bottom line. As a Hendon Hooker fan, if right now at this point, if Hendon
How big's
Hooker
that
isn't
fan
it,
club, by the way?
if the QB2 spot isn't locked in at this point, I'm probably concerned, if I'm being honest. The knee is healthy. All the things are there, right? And I'm not expecting Hendon Hooker to be like NFL ready, like let's go dominate the preseason. I'm not saying that. But if he can't beat out Nate Sudfeld right now, I don't care if he knows the system. That's a missed draft pick. You missed on a third round pick. And so I think Hendon Hooker is the guy. I think that I could see them, cutting Nate Sudfeld, bringing him back on a practice squad type of a thing. We'll have to see. But I'd be very concerned if they're keeping both. And I'd be paying attention as a Lions fan in the preseason what these snaps look like. You need to see Hendon Hooker take some steps here. You absolutely do. Don't underscore. I know people don't want to talk about the backup quarterback position. Need to talk about it. It's important. Jared Goff didn't get hurt. That's great this past year. You need a QB2. You're trying to win a Super Bowl. Okay. It's important and it's something to keep an eye on, but I'm all in on Hendon Hooker. I just think that if he doesn't rise to where I think he should be, you got to move on. That's a miss on a third round pick. Brant, last thing here on the Lions. The secondary, just to recap, I know right now, end of July, early August, here we go. We are all kind of in the football hangover, like, wait, let me gear up for football season. Lions make a trade for Carlton Davis from the Bucks, okay? Yes, an injured cornerback. We know the weakness of the Lions on defense in particular was the secondary. They make a trade, they go out, they get Carlton Davis, they trade up first round pick, get Terrion Arnold, arguably the best cornerback in the draft, and they also draft Ennis Rakeshaw from Missouri, just a dog. They also brought back Emmanuel Mosley, the guy they got from the 49ers a previous season ago, who's very talented but can't stay healthy. Played a snap or two for the Lions, got hurt. He's there. I need to know, Brant, from you, do you think the secondary of the Lions is going to be something that will be a strength of the team, or is it still a question mark for you?
I think it's a major question mark. And I don't know how we get around it right now, Dave, other than seeing live bullets flying around. Because the preseason's probably not going to show you a ton, nor should it. Terrion Arnold may be able to be good against, backups in the NFL. Maybe that's nice. But when week one, the Bulls start flying, they need to be ready. And you're going to have basically, five guys vying for two or three spots, right, Dave? So it's a matter of, can one of these guys take the big step? And I'm not sure that the rookies are going to be ready for that, Dave. So you're looking at a guy like Emmanuel Mosley, who's been through, has been through some of the ringers, so he can kind of step in and kind of fill that role. I look for him to be the key piece of this. Carlton Davis is a nice piece, but he's more of a vet, Dave. He's a guy that I don't want to see play 40 snaps a game. I think he's more around the 20 to 30 snaps a game. I know they're paying him a little bit higher than that, but that's okay. You have to kind of go out and make these deals for veteran quarterbacks like that and kind of work the rookies in. I think Terrion Arnold will see significant time. I think, Rakestraw is going to see some of the field, but these guys are not going to be day one guys where they're ready to hit the ground running. At least that's what I think, Dave. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, and we'll wrap it up here. I feel the same way. I feel like two points here. One is, did the Lions significantly upgrade their secondary from last year? Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
No question, right? But on that same point, and this is point number two, do we know they're going to be, they should be better, right? Pending health. I mean, who knows? They should be better, but do we think they're going to be like good? I don't know. Health is a big issue too here. Okay. Carlton Davis has missed a lot of time. Like, we'll see, but these are battles to keep an eye on.